Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am going to deliver a lecture on equity theory in management. So this theory focuses on fairness, perceived equity and job satisfaction. Equity theory in management. The equity theory is an organizational behavior theory that examines the impact of figuring out how fairly an employee is seen to be treated when compared with others or when in comparison with others. Equity theory in management. Introduction. Equity theory is one of the most influential theory of motivation in organizational behavior. Influential theory means a concept or a framework with a significant impact on a field of study or having the power to cause changes and shape new ideas. So is a concept of is influential theory means a concept or framework with a significant impact on a field of study, on a specific field of study. So equity theory is one of the most influential theories of motivation in organizational behavior. It was developed by John Stacey Adams in 1963 and it focuses on the concept of fairness and justice in the workplace. So according to Adams, employees are motivated not only by the absolute rewards they receive in shape of salary, benefits or recognition, but also by how fairly they perceive this reward to be in comparison with others. Means that employees are motivated not only by the absolute rewards that they receive in shape of salary, benefit or recognition, but also by how fairly they perceive this reward, how fairly they think that this reward to be fair in comparison with others. So equity theory in management. So in this theory, I will discuss about the inputs, outputs, comparison are referent others, comparison with others, and perceived equity or inequity. So in input there are efforts, hard work, skills, abilities, and knowledge of the employees, experience and education of the employees, time and loyalty of the employees, flexibility and cooperation of the employees. And in output, the payment, the pay, salary given to employees, the bonuses given to employees, the recognition and praise given to employees, the job security given to employees, promotion and career advancement given to employees, benefit and rewards given to employees, sense of achievements, the sense of achievement that the employees feel in themselves, and the comparison are referent other, compare the performance of one employee to another employee, and perceive equity or inequity. So perceived equity is the belief that one is being treated fairly when their personal ratio of contribution to reward is balanced with the ratio of other in a similar situation. Equity theory. This theory emphasizes that people continuously compare the ratio of their inputs, like I have already described in my previous slide, that their effort, that their skill, that their experience, that their knowledge, that their time, that their loyalty, that they are given to the company, that they are contributing to the company, what they contribute, and the output that I have already described in my previous slides, that the output, salary, bonus, compensations, appraisal, rewards, pension schemes, retirement plans, though these are the outputs. So this theory focuses that people continuously compare the ratio of their input means what they contribute, to output what they receive. So this theory focuses that people continuously compare the ratio of their inputs to outputs with those of other employees. So people every time, every month, compare the ratio of their inputs to outputs with those of other employees, that what they are receiving at the end of the month, or at the end of the year, and what the other employees who is working in the same capacity and the same company, and what he is receiving, as compared to his input or output. So if the employees perceive an imbalance are inequity, it can lead to dissatisfaction and it can lead to changes in behavior of the employees. If the employees feel that there is an imbalance or inequity in this input output ratio, then it can lead to dissatisfaction and it can lead to changes in the behavior of employees. So key concept of equity theory: inputs are the individual contribution to the organization. These include effort and hard work, skills, abilities, knowledge, experience and education, time and loyalty, flexibility and cooperation. So the key concepts of equity theory, like outputs are the outcomes mean results. So outputs are what individual receive from the organization in return for their input. These include pay, salary and bonuses, recognition and praise, job security, benefits and rewards, sense of achievement. So comparison or referent other implies compare their input output ratio with that of the other in the organization in the organization or outside it. So implies compare their input output ratio with that of others employees that are working in the same organization or the other employees who are working in different organization. So a co-worker in the same organization, for example, so if an employee if two employees are working in the same capacity in and in the working in the same organization, then these co-worker at the end of the month must compare their rewards, must compare the input output ratio with themselves, and to ensure that they are fairly treated and they are fairly compensated. So a friend in a similar job elsewhere, for example, a friend of any employee who is working in different company, but he is working in the same designation. These two friends must compare their input output ratio and must compare their salary according to their designations, and feel that whether they are fairly or unfairly treated in their organizations. So the employee's past experience, self experience, so employee can have compare his performance. An employee can compare his input out ratio as compared to the previous years, and then see whether that in the previous year his input output ratio and his according to his requirement, according to his satisfaction, and this year's is whether his input output ratio decreases or increases, because in this year's might be he put more effort into the company, he has given more time to the company, so he is expecting he's expecting increase in the salary, he's expecting bonus from the company. So the employee's past experience self comparison must be in consideration, it must be considered by the employer when he comparing the comparison, when he is compare his performance from the previous year and this year. And the industry standards, so the maintaining organizational justice, so the every company has to maintain its organizational justice in shape of pay, in shape of recognition, in shape of workload, and in shape of treatment. So it is essential for effective management. So every organization has to maintain its justice that is required by the industry standards. So psychological basis of equity theory. Adams based his theory on the principle of social exchange and cognitive dissonance. So what is social exchange? Social exchange like that reward and social exchange can be elaborated in shape of rewards and cost. So people are motivated to seek rewards, to seek praise, to seek status in the company, to seek affection, and avoid cost, like avoid they should avoid they have to avoid stress, conflict, and effort. Not up to major extent, but they want to avoid their cost, they want to avoid their effort in a to some extent. So cost benefit analysis. In the social exchange, the individual access relationship by weighing their rewards against the cost. So satisfaction is higher if when the rewards are high and costs are low. And in the healthy relationship involve a sense of give and take, where both parties contribute to a relationship. When one person gives much more than they receive, it can lead to resentment. It is also in a social exchange, when a give and take between two people, and one person feels that he gives much more than they receive. Then it is a feeling of discomfort when one person contribute more. So Adams based his theory on the principle of social exchange and cognitive dissonance. So cognitive dissonance is the mental discomfort experience when a person holds two or more conflicting beliefs, two or more conflicting values, or two or more conflicting attitudes, or when their action contradict their beliefs. So the common example is believing that smoking is unhealthy, but a person continuing to smoke is a classic example of cognitive dissonance. Is a mental discomfort experience when a person holds two or more conflicting beliefs. So Adams based his theory on the principle of social exchange and cognitive dissonance. When implies sense in inequity, when implies sense inequity, they experience psychological tension and dissonance, which motivate them to take action to restore fairness. To restore fairness means to recover fairness. So when it implies sense inequity, they experience psychological tension or dissonance, which motivate them to take action to recover its fairness. This tension drives them to either change their behavior or adjust their perception to achieve a sense of balance. So this tension drives them to either change their behavior or adjust their perception to achieve a sense of balance. Either they change their behavior, that the company give them as a reward, so is suitable and proper for him, or so it's adjust their perception to achieve a sense of balance. And then the person think that it might be in future he feel that the company will give him more bonuses, and thus in this way he will achieve a sense of balance. So this tension drives them to either change their behavior or adjust their perception to achieve a sense of balance. So imply reactions to perceive inequity. So first is change inputs. So when if employee perceive that there's an inequity in this organization, then the employee reduces effort, then the employee reduces work and making the work slower or contribute less to match the perceived unfair reward. Then the employee think that he is not getting the output as compared to his input. Then he is motivated to reduce his work, reduce his effort, and making the work slower to match to match the perceived unfair reward. He thinks that his reward is unfair as compared to his effort. So he tries to match the effort to the reward. So in this case, he reduce effort, he reduce work, and making the work slower or contribute less to match the perceived unfair reward. And second is change outcome. So might be the employee asks for a pay raise or asks for more recognition or other forms of compensation. And third is distort perception. So the employees might convince themselves that the situation is fair and maybe they have more experience than I do. And the fourth is change the comparison person, and the employees compare themselves with a different person or group of people to feel more equitable. And might be possible that the employee compare himself with a different person who is working in a different company, and he's comparing with a different group of people who are working in different industry, and then he has a feel of comfort, and he feels more equitable and leave the situation. And the employee might be quiet to quit the job, or request a transfer or disengage psychologically. Might be if the person thinks that there is inequity in shape of rewards as compared to his effort. So in this case, the employee might be quit the job, or the employee might request a transfer to another branch in the company or another department in the company, or or feel disengaged psychologically, or feel disengagement, not taking interest in its job. And the perceived equity or inequity. Equity exists when an employee perceives that their input-output ratio is equal to that of others. And inequity exists when this ratio is perceived as an unequal. So under reward inequity, the employee feels that they are receiving less than others for the same effort. And over reward inequity, in over reward inequity, the employee feels that they are receiving more than others for the same effort, which can also cause discomfort in some cases, but not in the most cases, because some people might be have a very soft corner for others, and they think that they are receiving more than others for the same effort. But these soft corner people are very less in this world. So it can also cause discomfort in some cases, but not in the most cases. A managerial implication of equity theory, that fair compensation system, clear communication, recognition and non-monetary rewards, performance appraisal, and the handling complaints and grievances. So where fair compensation system, in fair compensation system, managers should ensure pay and rewards are fair and transparent across similar job roles. And so in fair compensation system, managers should ensure pay and reward are fair and transparent across similar job roles. And transparency in an organization is the open sharing of information with internal and external stakeholders, encompassing aspects like financial goals and decisions. Means that the transparency means that the trust of the employees toward the management, and their communication flow towards the management, and their accountability towards the management, and leads to better decision making by making more information readily available. So transparency means that there's an open sharing of information, and the trust of the employees toward the management, and the improved communication flow towards the management. So this openness fosters trust and better decision making. So it is called a transparency because the system is transparent. So managers should ensure pay and rewards are fair and transparent across similar job roles, and there is a clear communication between management and the employee, and recognition and non-monetary rewards. So equity is not only about pay. Equity is also about recognition. Equity is also about respect. Equity is also about appreciation, and equity is also about contribute to perceive fairness. So equity is not limited to the monetary rewards, but equity also contribute towards the non-monetary rewards. So there must be equity or equality between all the employees. All the employees have the right to get recognition, to get respect, to get appreciation from the management. So equity is not only about pay, but equity is also about recognition. Equity is also about respect. Equity is also about appreciation, and equity is also contribute to perceive fairness. And the performance appraisal, so performance evaluation must be consistent, unbiased, and based on objective criteria. So when we evaluate the performance of the employees, so it must be consistent and it must be unbiased. Unbiased means free from nepotism. No personal favor given to any employee, because if an employee is a blood relation with any person who is working in the top level management, so the top level manager must not give personal favor to any employee who is working in the lower level management, or is working as a non-managerial staff. So performance evaluation must be consistent, performance evaluation must be unbiased, and performance evaluation must be based on objective criteria, means what objective, what goals he achieved during this period. So performance evaluation of the performance must be based on the objective criteria. And handling complaints and grievances, so manager should take employee concern about fairness seriously. Manager should take into account this concern about fairness seriously to maintain motivation and morale of the employee. So manager should take employee concerns, manager should take employees problems about fairness seriously to maintain motivation of the employees and to maintain the morale of the employees. So strength of the equity theory, strength of the equity theories are that this theory highlights the importance of fairness and transparency in organization, and this theory explains why employees may reduce effort and why employees leave due to perceived injustice, and this theory encourages managers to develop balanced reward system, and this theory applies to various aspects of work. This theory applies to various aspects of work, motivation, and pay, recognition, workload, and promotion. So this theory applies to various aspects of work like motivation, like pay, like salary, like recognition in the company, like workload and promotion in the company. So limitations of equity theory. There are 4 limitations in this of this theory. First is subjective perception, that the fairness is perceived differently by individual. What seems fair to one may not be fair to another. So fairness is perceived differently by different individual. One individual thinks that this is his input output ratio is fair, means his effort and reward ratio is equal, and one person feels that his input out ratio is unfair. So unfair means his output ratio, his input to output ratio is not equal, or his effort and reward ratio is not equal. And the second is cultural differences. Some cultures values equity like individual fairness, while other culture values emphasis or focuses on equality or group harmony. Group harmony means the coordination of the group member between them. And the third is complex comparison. So the employees may compare themselves to unrealistic reference. Means might be possible that employees compare themselves to a person who is not realistic, who is not based, whose performance is not based on the fact, and might be possible that the person is likely to be achieved, but he hasn't achieve more, and it involve a wrong or impractical idea about a situation or a person. So might be possible that employees may compare themselves to a unrealistic reference, unrealistic people, unrealistic employee, unrealistic individuals, which feel themselves that they are receiving his salary unfair, they are receiving their rewards unfair. And the last is limited to rational behavior. Assumes that employees act rationally while emotions often influence reactions. Assumes that employees act rationally while emotions often influence reactions. So this theory assumes that employees usually act rationally, usually act wisely, but when they think, when their emotions impact their reactions, so this theory limited to rational behavior. And then if a person feels that the company is doing unfair as compared to other employees, that's in this way that there is a feel of discomfort in the employee's mind. So this theory assumes that people act rationally, but actually when their emotions come into play, then this theory may not be applied. So conclusion, equity theory. So equity theory underscores the importance of perceived fairness in motivating employees. Underscore mean highlights. So equity theory highlights the importance of perceived fairness in motivating employees. Equity theory reminds managers that people do not work in isolation. They constantly evaluate their situation relative to other. When employees feel fairly treated, they are more satisfied, they are more productive, and they are more loyal. And conversely, perception of equity can lead to dissatisfaction, perception of inequity lead to absenteeism, and perception of inequity lead to turnover. Perception of equity lead to that the employee quit the job from this company. So therefore, maintaining organizational justice in shape of pay, in shape of recognition, in shape of workload, and in shape of treatment is essential for effective management and long-term success. It's all about my lecture. Thanks for watching my video. Please subscribe my channel. See you in the next video.